The bridge of the Thalarian survey vessel was quiet except for the soft clicking sounds Commander Velther made when he was thinking. His forearms moved across the control panels with practiced ease, checking the readings for the third time. Something was wrong with the sensors. They were picking up energy signatures that should not be there. "Commander, we are detecting a vessel," said Science Officer Cryanth. Her voice carried the musical tone all Thalarians had, but there was concern in it. "It appears to be floating without power in the dead system ahead." Velther leaned forward in his seat. His insectoid eyes could see more colors than most species, and right now the display showed him something very interesting. A ship, a human ship, if the database was correct. The Thalarians had only met humans a few years ago. They were a new species in the galaxy, young and still learning how things worked out here in the dark. "Identify the vessel," Velther ordered. Cryanth worked her console. "The registry matches a human exploration frigate, the USCS Silent Vengeance. According to our records, this ship was reported missing 6 months ago. The humans listed it as lost with all hands. 6 months. Velther felt excitement building in his chest. Salvage rights on a human vessel could be very valuable. The humans had some interesting technology, different from what most species used. If he could claim this ship and bring it back to Thalaran space, the Assembly might finally give him the promotion he deserved. "Are there any life signs?" he asked. "No, Commander. The ship is completely dark. No power signatures, no heat, nothing. It looks dead." "Prepare a boarding party," Velther said. "We will investigate." Cryanth turned to face him. Her antennae were flat against her head, which meant she was worried. "Commander, perhaps we should report this to the Assembly first. We do not know what happened to this vessel. It could be dangerous." Velther waved one of his hands in dismissal. "The ship is clearly abandoned. We will take a look, secure it, and then report our find. Ready the shuttle." 2 hours later, Velther and his team were approaching the human ship in their small boarding craft. The Silent Vengeance grew larger in the viewport as they got closer. It was smaller than Thalaran military ships, but it looked solid and well made. The hull was dark gray, and there were no lights anywhere on it. It really did look like a dead thing floating in space. The boarding party attached their shuttle to the human airlock. Velther went through first, his magnetic boots clicking on the metal floor. The air inside was cold but breathable. Emergency lights flickered on as they moved deeper into the ship, responding to their movement. "Atmosphere is stable," reported one of his team members. "Temperature is low, but the life support systems appear to be functioning on minimum power." That was strange. If the ship was truly abandoned, why would life support still be running? Velther pushed the thought away. Probably just automated systems. Human technology was known to be quirky. They moved through the corridors slowly. Everything was clean. Too clean. There was no damage anywhere, no signs of a fight or emergency. The walls were painted a neutral white, and human writing marked different sections. Velther could not read it, but his translator worked well enough. In the mess hall, they found something that made Cryanth stop in her tracks. "Commander, look at this." On one of the tables was a tray of food. Velther approached it carefully. The food looked fresh. There was even steam rising from a cup of liquid. That was impossible. The ship had been missing for 6 months. "Run a scan on that food," Velther ordered. The scan came back quickly. "Commander, this food was prepared less than 4 hours ago." A chill ran down Velther's spine. 4 hours ago. That meant someone was here recently, but there were no life signs. How could that be? They continued deeper into the ship. The crew quarters were untouched. Personal items sat on bunks and desks. Pictures of what must be human families, books, small devices. Everything looked like the crew had just stepped out for a moment and would be back soon. The bridge was empty but functional. The main view screen was dark, but the control panels glowed with standby lights. Velther approached the captain's chair. It was designed for humans, smaller than what he was used to, but it looked comfortable. "Check the computer systems," he told his technical specialist. "See if you can access the ship's logs." While his team worked, Velther noticed a door to the side of the bridge. The sign next to it said Captain's Ready Room. He walked over and opened it. The room was small and organized. There was a desk with a computer terminal, a few shelves with books and objects, and on the wall were several pictures. Velthor looked at them. They showed a human male with dark hair and serious eyes wearing a military uniform. This must be the captain. On the desk was a piece of paper. Actual paper, not a digital display. Velthor picked it up carefully. Written on it in what looked like hand-drawn letters were words in English and crude universal pictographs that any species could understand. The message was simple and direct. We're not dead. We're working. Don't touch anything. Velthor stared at the note for a long moment. Working? Working on what? And if they were not dead, where were they? Commander. The shout came from the bridge. Velthor rushed back to find his technical specialist looking panicked. I interfaced with the ship's computer to access the logs, but something happened. The system activated. I think I triggered something. Before Velthor could respond, the ship changed. The emergency lights that had been dim suddenly brightened. The low hum of power that had been barely noticeable became a steady throb. Velthor felt warmth beginning to spread through the deck plates under his feet. What did you do? Velthor demanded. I do not know. I just connected to the computer and the view screen on the bridge flickered to life. It showed a countdown timer. 30 minutes. 29 minutes and 59 seconds. 58 seconds? The numbers were falling. Velthor looked at the note in his hand again. Don't touch anything. They had touched everything. All around them. The ship was waking up. And somewhere in the dark corridors, Velthor heard the sound of doors opening and footsteps approaching. The humans were here after all. And Velthor realized with growing horror that they had just walked into something they did not understand. The hunt was about to begin, and the Thalirians were not the hunters. The doors to the bridge sealed shut with a heavy metallic sound that made every member of the Thalirian boarding party jump. Velthor spun around, all four of his arms reaching for the weapons at his sides. His team formed a defensive circle, their own weapons drawn and ready. The countdown on the view screen continued its steady march downward, 27 minutes. 26 minutes and 50 seconds. The ship's lights were now fully bright, and Velthor could feel the deck vibrating beneath his feet as the reactor cores came to full power. Commander, we need to leave, Cryan said, her voice tight with fear. We need to get back to our shuttle now. Velthor moved to the door they had come through. It would not open. He tried the manual override. Nothing. They were locked in. Open this door. He shouted, though he did not know who he was shouting to. A speaker crackled to life above them. I would not recommend trying to force that door, a voice said in perfect universal standard. The voice was calm, almost friendly. The explosive charges on the other side would make quite a mess. Velthor froze. Who are you? Show yourself. In a moment, the voice replied. First, I need you and your team to put your weapons on the floor and step away from them. Slowly, please. My people have you in their sights, and I would prefer not to have any accidents today. Velthor looked around. He saw nothing, no one, but he believed the voice. Slowly, carefully, he placed his weapons on the deck. His team did the same, their fear obvious in the way their antennae drooped. Good, the voice said. Thank you for your cooperation. Now, please move to the center of the bridge and keep your hands where we can see them. They did as instructed. Velthor felt foolish and angry. He had walked his team right into a trap, driven by his own greed and pride. The assembly would never promote him after this disaster. The doors to the bridge opened, and humans walked in. There were 5 of them. They wore dark uniforms that looked like military gear, and they carried weapons that were pointed at the Thalirians. 4 of them took positions around the room, while the 5th, a male with short dark hair and a calm expression, walked to the captain's chair. He sat down and looked at Velthor with dark eyes that seemed to see everything. I am Captain Hyan Wu, commander of the USCS Silent Vengeance. Welcome aboard my ship. Velthor straightened himself, trying to regain some dignity. I am Commander Velthor of the Thalirian survey vessel Whisper of Stars. We detected your ship and came to investigate. We believed it to be abandoned. You believed wrong, Captain Hyanwu said. His voice was still calm, but there was steel underneath it. My ship was never abandoned, Commander. It was exactly where it was supposed to be. But your vessel was reported missing 6 months ago, Valther protested. The human authorities listed it as lost. A small smile touched the captain's face. Yes, they did. That was the idea. Tell me, Commander, what do you know about human military tactics? Valther did not know how to answer that. The Thalirians had very little contact with human military forces. Very little, he admitted. Then let me explain, Captain Hyanwu said. He gestured to one of his crew, a female with sharp features and cold eyes. This is Lieutenant G1, my tactical officer. Lieutenant, please tell our guests what we do. The woman called G1 stepped forward. The Silent Vengeance is what we call a Q-ship. That means we look like a normal exploration vessel, but we are actually a warship. We pretend to be weak and helpless. We wait for predators to attack us. And then we kill them. The blunt way she said it made Valther's blood run cold. Predators? What predators? The Krill, Captain Hyanwu answered. Do you know them, Commander? Valther knew that name. Every spacefaring species in this sector knew the Krill. They were raiders and pirates, brutal and vicious. They came from a death world with gravity so strong it would crush most species. The Krill themselves were massive, heavily armored, and violent. They took what they wanted and killed anyone who resisted. Yes, I know of them, Valther said. They are dangerous. We avoid their territory. Smart, said another human, a younger male who stepped forward. I'm Engineer Taeyang. The Krill have been attacking human colony ships on the edge of our space. They've killed thousands of our people, men, women, children. They don't care. A female with kind eyes spoke next. Doctor, I've treated survivors from 3 different attacks. The things the Krill do, she shook her head. The Galactic Council won't help us. They say the Krill are too far away, that it's not their problem, so we have to handle it ourselves. The last member of the crew stepped forward. She was a female with a scarred face and hard eyes. Sergeant Bioram, Marine Corps, we've been hunting the Krill for 4 months. The ship plays dead, the Krill come to scavenge or attack, and we destroy them. We've killed 4 of their raiding groups so far. Valther began to understand. You use yourselves as bait. Exactly, Captain Hyanwu confirmed. And it works. The Krill think humans are weak. They see a disabled ship and they can't resist. But they're wrong about us. We're not weak. We're patient, we're smart. And we're very, very angry about what they've done to our people. But why tell me this? Valther asked. Why not just let us go? Captain Hyanwu's expression became serious. Because your technician interfaced with our computer systems. When he did that, he accidentally triggered a distress beacon. A very specific distress beacon designed to attract Krill attention. The countdown on the view screen suddenly made horrible sense. They are coming here, Valther said. Yes, a Krill war fleet will arrive in. The captain glanced at the screen. 24 minutes. They will find your ship and mine. They will assume we are both helpless. And then they will attack. Cryanth made a sound of distress. Our ship is not armed for combat. We are a survey vessel. I know, Captain Hyanwu said, which means you have 2 choices. You can try to run, but your ship is slow and the Krill are fast. They will catch you and kill you. Or you can stay here, work with us, and maybe, just maybe, we all survive this. Valther felt trapped. Anger, fear, and shame warred inside him. His pride had brought them to this moment. His arrogance had doomed his crew. But he was still their commander. He had to try to save them. What do you need us to do? He asked. Captain Hyanwu stood. First, I need you to understand something, Commander. Humans don't fight the way most species do. We don't believe in honor or fair combat. We believe in survival. We'll lie, trick, and ambush our enemies. We'll do whatever it takes to win. Does that bother you? Valther thought about his crew aboard the Whisper of Stars. He thought about the Krill and what they would do if they caught them. No, he said, it does not bother me. Good, the captain said. He moved to the tactical display and brought up a holographic image of the surrounding space. Then let me tell you the plan. Your ship needs to position itself here, as if you're trying to salvage my vessel. When the krill arrive, you need to look scared and helpless. Because that's what they expect. Can you do that? Yes, Velther said. Looking scared would not be difficult. He was terrified. The krill will focus on you first, Lieutenant G1 explained, pointing at the display. They'll see your ship as easy prey. They'll move in close. And that's when we strike. Sergeant Ram grinned. It was not a friendly expression. We've done this before. We know how they think. They'll never see it coming. Engineer Taeyang added, Our ship has hidden weapons all over it. Railguns, missile pods, everything disguised. When we power up, it happens fast. Very fast. Dr. Dayun moved closer to Velther. I'll need to coordinate with your medical staff. There will be wounded. I'll help treat your people if needed. Velther looked at each of the humans. They were so different from what he expected. Smaller than krill, weaker than many species, but there was something in their eyes. A fierce determination, a refusal to give up. On their homeworld, Captain Han Wu had told him humans were not the strongest or fastest. They had survived by being smarter, more creative, and more stubborn than everything that tried to kill them. The countdown showed 19 minutes. I will help you, Velther said. My crew and I will play our part. But Captain, I need to know. Can we really win this? Captain Han Wu met his eyes. Commander, the krill are about to learn something. They think finding this ship means they caught their prey. They're wrong. They didn't find us, we found them. Commander Velther moved quickly through the corridors of the Silent Vengeance, heading back to his shuttle with 2 human escorts. Captain Han Wu had given him 15 minutes to return to his own ship and brief his crew. 15 minutes to convince them to trust these strange humans and participate in what might be a suicide mission. As he walked, he saw more of the human crew. They moved with purpose, checking weapons and running system diagnostics. These were not scientists or explorers. These were warriors, and they had been at war longer than he realized. One of his escorts, a young human male, noticed Velther watching the crew. First time seeing humans prepare for combat? Yes, Velther admitted. Your people are very different from what I expected. The young man smiled. Most aliens think we're soft because we're small and we haven't been in space very long. The krill learned different. They're about to get another lesson? Back aboard the Whisper of Stars, Velther gathered his crew in the common area. They looked at him with a mixture of fear and confusion. He could not blame them. He felt the same way. Listen carefully, he began. The situation has changed. The human ship is not abandoned. It is a military vessel on a classified mission. They have been hunting the krill. Shocked murmurs rippled through the crew. Krynth spoke up. The krill? Commander, we need to leave immediately. If the krill are coming here, we cannot leave, Velther interrupted. When our technician accessed the human computer, he triggered a beacon. A krill fleet is already on its way. They will be here in less than 10 minutes. The murmurs turned to sounds of panic. Velther raised his hands. There is a way through this, but we must work with the humans. We must trust them. Trust them? One of his crew members demanded. They set a trap and we walked into it. No, Velther said firmly. We walked into ourselves, driven by my own greed. The humans are offering us a chance to survive. They have a plan. They have fought the krill before and won. He explained the plan as Captain Han Wu had laid it out. The Whisper of Stars would position itself near the Silent Vengeance. They would appear to be salvaging the human ship. When the krill arrived, the Thalirians would act frightened and helpless. The humans would remain hidden until the perfect moment. They want us to be bait, someone said bitterly. We are already bait, Velther replied. The only question is whether we die alone or fight back with allies. I choose to fight. Krynth stepped forward. I will help coordinate our sensors with the human ship. If we share tactical data, we improve all our chances. Others began to volunteer. The mood shifted from panic to grim determination. They were scientists and explorers, not warriors. But they would do what they had to do. Velther returned to the Silent Vengeance to find the ship transformed. The lights were low and red now, battle lighting. The crew moved like parts of a machine, each knowing their role perfectly. He was directed to the bridge where Captain Hyunwoo stood over a tactical display. "Your ship is in position," the captain said without looking up. "Good, now we wait. How long?" Velther asked. Lieutenant G1 answered, her eyes fixed on her console. 6 minutes. We're detecting FTL signatures. 8 ships. 1 battlecruiser and 7 frigates. 8 ships? Velther felt his stomach drop. That is a full war fleet. Yes, Captain Hyunwoo said calmly. They really want this ship? They've been hunting us for weeks. They think today is the day they finally catch us. Engineer Taeyang looked up from his station. All weapon systems are green. Reactor at 40% and climbing. Heat sinks are full. We can maintain the cold hull illusion for another 4 minutes, then we have to vent or the sensors will pick up our signature. 4 minutes is plenty, the captain said. They'll be in range in 5. Dr. De-Yun was on the bridge too, standing near a medical station. She gave Velther a reassuring nod. I've coordinated with your medical officer. We're ready for casualties on both ships. Sergeant Bioram stood near the weapons console with 3 other Marines. They wore heavy armor and carried large rifles. Boarding teams are ready, Captain. If any krill try to board us, we'll give them a warm welcome. The waiting was torture. Velther watched the countdown and thought about everything that had led him here. His ambition, his pride, his certainty that he knew better than everyone else. He had learned a hard lesson today. He only hoped he lived long enough to remember it. 3 minutes, Go-1 reported. They're dropping out of FTL now. On the view screen, space rippled and tore. 8 massive shapes appeared, dark and menacing against the stars. The krill ships looked like weapons themselves, all sharp angles and armored plating. The battlecruiser at the center was enormous, easily 3 times the size of the Silent Vengeance. They're scanning us, Gu-1 said. Both ships. They're taking their time, making sure it's not a trap. Let them look, Captain Hyunwoo said. They'll see exactly what we want them to see. A dead human ship and a scared Thalaran survey vessel? Nothing dangerous at all. Velther watched as the krill fleet began to move. They spread out in a hunting formation, surrounding both ships. He could see weapons charging on their hulls, glowing with barely contained energy. They're hailing the whisper of stars, Jawan reported. Let them, the captain said. Velther, your people know what to do? Yes, Velther confirmed. He had briefed his communications officer on exactly what to say. Sound frightened, ask for mercy, offer anything to be allowed to leave. Make the krill think they had won before the fight even started. On a secondary screen, Velther could see the krill commander. It was massive, even sitting down. 7 feet tall at least, covered in natural armor plating, with 4 arms like his own, but thick with muscle. Its face was a nightmare of sharp teeth and cold eyes. The krill spoke in a harsh, grinding language that the translator struggled with. Thalaran vessel, you are in krill territory. Your ship and the human wreck now belong to us. Prepare to be boarded. If you resist, we will destroy you. Velther heard his communications officer respond with exactly the right amount of fear. Please, we meant no offense. We are just a survey ship. We will leave immediately. Please let us go. The krill commander laughed. It was a terrible sound. No, you will stay. Your ship will be claimed. Your crew will be useful. Do not move. The channel closed. On the tactical display, Velther could see the krill ships moving closer. They were confident, taking their time. They thought this was easy prey. 60 seconds until optimal firing range. Yugon said. Captain Hyunwoo was perfectly still, watching the display. Weapons status? All systems ready, Taeyang confirmed. Heat sinks at capacity. We can fire everything at once. Target priorities? Frigates first, one said. Quick kills to even the numbers. Then we focus on the battlecruiser. 45 seconds. The krill ships were very close now. Velthor could see details on their hulls, weapon ports, sensor arrays. He wondered if any of them suspected what was about to happen. 30 seconds. Captain Han Wu took a deep breath and let it out slowly. All crew, this is the captain. Battle stations. Prepare to engage. Throughout the ship, Velthor could hear systems powering up. The vibration in the deck increased. The silent vengeance was waking up for real now. 20 seconds. The Krill battlecruiser was moving into position above them, preparing to launch boarding craft. The frigates had spread out in a loose sphere, blocking any escape route. 10 seconds. Velthor found himself holding his breath. 5 seconds. Captain Heinwu's hand hovered. Over the weapons release control. 3 seconds. 2 seconds. The captain's hand came down. Fire everything, he said calmly. The silent vengeance erupted with light and violence. Hidden panels all over the hull snapped open, revealing weapons that had been concealed moments before. Railguns spun up and fired, sending projectiles screaming through space at incredible speed. Missile pods launched their payloads. Dozens of warheads streaking toward the Krill ships. The space around them became a storm of fire and metal, and the Krill, who had thought they were the hunters, suddenly discovered they were the prey. The first Krill frigate died before it could even react. 3 railgun rounds punched through its shields and hull in rapid succession, followed by a spread of missiles that found every weak point. The explosion was brilliant and brief. A flash of white light that left nothing behind but expanding debris. The second frigate lasted slightly longer. Its commander managed to raise shields and begin evasive maneuvers. It did not matter. Lieutenant G1 had already calculated every possible move. The missiles adjusted their trajectories in flight, and the frigate joined its companion as wreckage. 2 down, Jo1 reported, her voice showing no emotion. Remaining targets engaging. The bridge of the silent vengeance shook as the Krill returned fire. Energy beams and kinetic rounds hammered the human ship's shields. Warning lights flashed across multiple consoles. Shields at 70%, Engineer Taeyong called out. Holding steady. Port armor taking direct hits, but it's holding. Captain Hyun Woo stood at the tactical display, his hands moving across the controls. Focus fire on Frigate 3. D1, pattern Delta 7. Executing, the lieutenant replied. Velthor watched in amazement as the human ship moved. It was not the largest or fastest vessel, but it moved with precision and purpose. Every shot was calculated, every maneuver deliberate. The humans fought like they had done this 1,000 times before. The Krill battlecruiser finally reacted to the threat. Its massive main guns swiveled toward the silent vengeance. When they fired, the bridge lights dimmed from the impact. Shields at 40%, Taeyong shouted. That battlecruiser hits hard. Redirect power from sensors to shields, Captain Hyun Woo ordered. We don't need to see them anymore. We know where they are. Another frigate exploded, caught between the silent vengeance's railguns and a perfectly timed missile barrage. 3 down, 5 to go. Commander Velthor, Captain Hyun Woo said suddenly. I need your ship to do something for me. Anything, Velthor replied, gripping the railing as another impact shook the bridge. That battlecruiser is charging its main weapon again. I need your ship to hit it with everything you have. Mining lasers, whatever you've got. Just distract it for 10 seconds. Velthor opened a channel to his ship. Cryanth, focus all mining lasers on the Krill battlecruiser. Hit it as hard as you can. Commander, our mining equipment is not designed for combat, Cryanth protested. Do it anyway. Velthor ordered. The Whisper of Stars, which had been trying to stay out of the direct fighting, turned toward the massive Krill vessel. Its industrial mining lasers, meant for cutting through asteroids, lanced out and struck the battlecruiser's forward shields. They barely made a dent in the shields, but it was enough. The battlecruiser's attention shifted from the silent vengeance to this new, unexpected annoyance. Its secondary guns began tracking the Thalaran ship. Get out of there! Velthor shouted into the cum. The Whisper of Stars accelerated, its engines straining. Krill weapons fire chased it across space, getting closer with each shot. One now, Captain Hyun Woo commanded. The The Silent Vengeance had used those precious 10 seconds to maneuver into a perfect firing position. Every weapon the ship had fired at once, all aimed at the same point on the battlecruiser's hull. The concentrated firepower punched through the shields and tore into armor. The battlecruiser shuddered but did not die. It was too big, too heavily armored. But it was hurt, and now it was angry. "They're launching boarding craft," Sergeant Boram announced. 20 small ships, headed right for us. "Let them come," Captain Hyan-Woo said. "The Oram, you know what to do." The sergeant grinned. "Yes, sir. All Marines, prepare to repel boarders. Make them regret every choice they made today." The boarding craft were fast, designed to latch onto a ship's hull and cut through. 6 of them made it past the defensive fire and attached to the Silent Vengeance. Velther could hear the sounds of cutting equipment through the hull. "They're breaching Deck 3, Deck 5, and Deck 7, Dr. Dayun reported from her station. "Marine teams moving to intercept." What happened next, Velther could only follow through audio reports and security camera feeds. The Krill came through the breaches in force, massive armored warriors with weapons that looked like they could tear through steel. They were terrifying, and they expected the humans to run. The humans did not run. Sergeant Boram's Marines met them in the corridors, with rifle fire and grenades. The Krill were bigger and stronger, but the humans used the environment to their advantage. They set up crossfires, used cover, and fell back to prepared positions that channeled the Krill into kill zones. One security feed showed a Krill warrior charging down a corridor, only to trigger a trap that dropped a heavy blast door on it. Another showed human Marines using a portable shield wall, something they must have set up in advance, to hold a choke point against superior numbers. "They are very good at this," Velther said quietly. "We've had a lot of practice," Captain Hyan-Woo replied. "Humans have been fighting each other for thousands of years. We learned a lot about warfare before we ever left our planet." On the main view screen, the battle in space continued. The Whisper of Stars was still running, still being chased by 2 Krill frigates. They were faster than the Thalaran ship and gaining. "They're going to catch my vessel," Velther said. "No, they're not," Duwan said. She pressed a control. "Pattern Theta 3, execute." The Silent Vengeance fired missiles, but not at the ships chasing the Whisper of Stars. Instead, the missiles arced up and around, positioning themselves in the path the frigates were taking. When the Krill ships flew into the spread, the missiles detonated all at once. One frigate managed to dodge. The other flew right through the blast and came apart, its shields failing under the combined explosions. 4 frigates down, 3 to go, Druwan reported. Battle cruisers still combat effective. Another impact shook the ship harder than before. Sparks flew from one of the bridge consoles. Engineer Taeyang rushed to put out a small fire. "Shields at 15%. He called out. "We can't take many more hits like that." "Redirect all power from non-essential systems," Captain Hyan-Woo ordered. "Life support to minimum. Gravity to minimum. Everything goes to shields and weapons." Velther felt the artificial gravity decrease. Everyone on the bridge grabbed hold of something to stay in place. "Captain, the boarding teams are getting pushed back on Deck 5. The Boram's voice came through the comm, strained and breathing hard. "These things are tough. We've killed 6 of them, but there's a lot more coming through. Fall back to Section 12 and seal it," the captain ordered. "We'll vent that entire deck to space." "Sir, we have wounded in Section 11. We need 2 more minutes to get them out." "You have 90 seconds. Move." Velther watched Captain Hyan-Woo make impossible decisions with calm determination. Save the wounded, but risk the ship. Fight the boarders, but keep enough crew to run the vessel. Balance offense and defense with resources running low. The Krill battlecruiser fired again. This time, something in the ship's lower decks exploded. The entire vessel lurched to the side. "Reactor 2 is offline." Taeyang shouted. "We just lost 30% of our power." "Switch to Reactor 1 only," the captain said. "Reduce firing rate by half to compensate." "Sir, if we do that, we won't have enough firepower to finish the battlecruiser." Captain Hyan-Woo looked at the tactical display for a long moment. Then he smiled, and it was not a nice smile. Then we do this the old-fashioned way, he said. Set ramming course. Full speed. Right down their throat. Everyone on the bridge turned to stare at him. Velther felt his blood run cold. Captain, that is suicide. No, Captain Hyanwu said calmly. That's commitment. They want this ship? They can have it. Right through their command deck. Gu1, calculate the angle. Taeyang, give me every bit of speed we have left. Bioram, get your people off deck 5 now. We're about to get very close to that battle cruiser. The silent Vengeance turned and accelerated, aiming straight for the massive krill vessel. The battle cruiser fired everything it had, but the human ship kept coming. Velther realized he was seeing something important. This was what made humans dangerous. They did not fight to win gloriously. They fought to win at all costs. If ramming was what it took, they would ram. If sacrifice was required, they would sacrifice. The krill were about to learn what determination really meant. 30 seconds to impact. G1 announced. All hands, brace for collision. Captain Hyanwu ordered. 20 seconds. The krill battlecruiser tried to turn away, but it was too big, too slow. 10 seconds. Point defense guns tore chunks off the silent Vengeance's hull, but it was not enough. 5 seconds. Then Velther heard Sergeant Bioram's voice on the comm, excited and wild. Captain, we've rigged a krill boarding craft with explosives. If you can get us close enough, we can board them instead. Captain Hyanwu's eyes widened. How close? Close enough to dock? The captain's finger hovered over the collision alarm. Then he pressed a different control. Change of plans, he said. We're going to board them. The silent Vengeance slammed into the side of the krill battlecruiser, but not at ramming speed. Captain Hyanwu had cut the engines at the last second, turning a collision into a violent docking maneuver. Metal screamed against metal as the two ships locked together. Boarding teams, go! The captain shouted. Through the security feeds. Velther watched as Sergeant Bioram and her marines charged through the breaches the krill had made in the human ship, but in reverse. They used the captured boarding craft as bridges, flooding into the krill vessel with weapons firing. The corridors of the krill ship were larger, designed for their massive warriors. But that gave the humans room to maneuver. Bioram's voice came through the comm, shouting orders between bursts of gunfire. Team 1, take the left corridor. Team 2, with me. We need to reach their engineering section before they can... An explosion cut off her words. Then she was back. Never mind, they definitely know we're here. Keep moving. On the bridge, alarms were blaring. Engineer Taeyang worked frantically at his console. Captain, we've got fires on 3 decks, both reactors are running hot, and our hull integrity is at 40%. We can't stay locked to this battlecruiser for long. We don't need long, Captain Hyanwu replied. One, what's the status of the remaining frigates? 2 are moving to intercept the Whisper of Stars, the lieutenant reported. The 3rd is heading this way, probably trying to support the battlecruiser. The Whisper of Stars can't outrun 2 frigates, Velther said urgently. Captain Hyanwu nodded. G1, can we get a firing solution on those frigates from this angle? She worked her console, her fingers flying across the controls. Negative. The battlecruiser is blocking our line of fire. We'd have to detach. Then we detach, the captain decided. Taeyang, blow the docking clamps. All remaining power to engines and weapons. Sir, if we detach now, the boarding teams will be trapped on the krill ship, Dr. Doyun said. Her voice worried. Captain Hyanwu looked at the security feeds showing his marines fighting through the krill vessel. Velther saw the pain in his eyes. But the captain's voice was steady when he spoke. Rum knows the risks. She volunteered for this. We complete the mission. The docking clamps exploded, and the silent Vengeance pushed away from the battlecruiser. Immediately, the ship's remaining weapons opened fire on the frigate approaching them. At this close range, with the enemy not expecting the sudden attack, the frigate's shields collapsed quickly. It tried to retreat, but a spread of missiles caught it amidships. 5 frigates down. Whisper of Stars is taking fire, Drone reported. Their shields are failing. Velthor grabbed the cum. Cryanth, evasive maneuvers. Do not let them get a solid lock. We are trying, Commander. Cryanth's voice was tight with stress. But they are too fast. The silent vengeance turned hard, accelerating toward the two frigates chasing the Thalaran ship. But they were too far away, and the human ship was too damaged to reach full speed. We are not going to make it in time, Guiwan said quietly. Velthor watched helplessly as weapons fire from the two krill. Frigates hammered the Whisper of Stars, whose ship's shields flashed and died. The next salvo would tear through the hull. His crew would die because of his mistakes. Then the krill battlecruiser exploded. It was not a normal explosion. It started deep inside the ship, a chain reaction that blew out section by section. The massive vessel came apart like a flower blooming, debris expanding in all directions. What happened? Velthor gasped. Captain Hyunwoo was staring at the tactical display in shock. Then a slow smile spread across his face. Rem happened. She reached their reactor core. The two frigates chasing the Whisper of Stars stopped their attack, clearly confused by the sudden destruction of their flagship. That moment of hesitation cost them. The silent vengeance, battered but not beaten, fired its last full weapon spread. One frigate tried to dodge. It was too slow. Railgun rounds tore it apart. The last frigate, the final ship of the Krill war fleet, decided that survival was more important than revenge. It turned and accelerated toward the FTL jump point. Let it go, Captain Hyunwoo said. We don't have the power to catch it. The bridge was suddenly quiet except for the sounds of alarms and damaged systems. The battle was over. Against 8 Krill ships, the humans and Thalarians had won, but the cost was clear. The silent vengeance was barely functional. Fires still burned in several sections. The casualty reports were coming in, and Velthor could see Dr. Dayun's face growing more grim with each one. Sergeant B.O. Ram? The captain asked quietly. Dr. Dunn checked her console. I'm reading life signs on some of the escape pods launched from the battlecruiser before it exploded. 10 pods. 47 human life signs total. Our arms team was 53, Captain Hyunwoo said. His voice was carefully neutral, but Velthor could hear the pain underneath. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. The captain closed his eyes for a moment. Then he opened them and began giving orders. Taeyang, get me a damage report. Guzji-1, coordinate with the Whisper of Stars for rescue operations. Dayun, prepare medical bay for incoming wounded. We bring everyone home. Over the next few hours, Velthor watched the humans work. Despite their exhaustion, despite their losses, they moved with purpose and care. They rescued their Marines from the escape pods. They treated the wounded, both human and Thalaran. They repaired what they could and secured what they could not. Velthor himself worked alongside them, helping where he could. His crew did the same. The barrier between the two species seemed to have dissolved in the fire of shared combat. He found Captain Hyunwoo in the damaged ready room, staring at a list of names on his computer. The names of the dead. 6 Marines did not make it, the captain said without looking up. Good people. Brave people. They gave their lives so others could survive. I am sorry, Velthor said. This happened because of my foolishness. If I had not boarded your ship, if you had not boarded my ship, those Marines would probably still be dead, Captain Hyunwoo interrupted. Just in a different battle. We've been hunting the krill for months. Every fight costs us. That's the nature of war. He finally looked at Velthor. But you helped us today. Your crew fought alongside mine. That matters. Velthor sat down, feeling the weight of everything that had happened. I do not understand humans, he admitted. You pretend to be weak. You use tricks and deception? You sacrifice yourselves without hesitation. Why? Captain Hyunwoo leaned back in his chair. Because we have to. On our homeworld, Earth, humans were never the strongest or fastest or most dangerous. Everything else was better at survival than we were. So we learned to be smart. We learned to work together. We learned to never give up, no matter how bad things got. He gestured at the damaged ship around them. The Galactic Council would not help us when the Krill started attacking our colonies. They said it was not their problem. So we helped ourselves. We built ships like this. We trained crews like mine. We do what we have to do to protect our people. The galaxy underestimates you, Valther said. Yes, the captain agreed. And we prefer it that way. Let them think we're weak. Let them think we're just lucky. When the time comes, when they realize what we really are, it will be too late for our enemies. Valther thought about the battle he had just witnessed. The tactics, the determination, the sheer refusal to accept defeat. What will you do now? He asked. Repair my ship. Report to Earth Command. And then go back out there. Captain Hyan Wu looked at the stars on his view screen. There are more Krill fleets. More threats to human colonies. The hunt continues. Will you tell the Galactic Council what happened here? The captain smiled slightly. No, let them keep thinking the Krill are too far away to matter. Let them keep thinking humans are not important. We'll handle our own problems. Several days later, the Whisper of Stars prepared to depart. The Silent Vengeance was stable enough for the journey back to human space, though it would need months of repairs. The two crews had worked together to get both ships functional on the bridge of his vessel. Valther prepared to say goodbye to the humans. But Captain Han Wu had one more thing to discuss. Commander, I need to ask you something, the human said over the comm. What will you tell your superiors about what happened here? Valther had thought about this carefully. I will tell them the truth. That I found a human military vessel engaged in operations against the Krill, that the Krill are a threat to all species in this sector, not just humans, and that humanity is far more capable than most give them credit for. That might cause problems for you, Captain Hyan Wu pointed out. Perhaps, Valther agreed. But I have learned something important. The galaxy is changing. New threats are emerging, and the old ways of thinking, the old assumptions about who is strong and who is weak, those are dangerous now. He paused, then continued. I will also recommend that the Thalaran Assembly establish closer ties with Earth, for trade, for intelligence sharing, perhaps even for mutual defense. If the Krill come to our space, I would rather have humans as allies than face them alone. Captain Hyan Wu nodded slowly. I'll forward your recommendation to Earth Command. I think they'll be interested. One more thing, Valther said. Your note in the ready room. The one that said not to touch anything. You knew someone would ignore it. The captain smiled. I hope no one would board at all.